It's Wednesday. How we doing, folks? You are listening to Live from the Studio, our daily edition. I am your host, Jimmy Selesky, and I am glad to be here on what I believe to be, every week, the weirdest day of the week. Some call it Weird Wednesday. Some don't. In fact, most don't. But I do. We got a nice show coming at you today. I want to talk about, first and foremost, I want to revisit this Trump bloodbath debacle. The debacle! Oh my God! It's gonna be a bloodbath! I want to revisit that. There's a just hilarious campaign ad from the Biden administration that I came across today that I think you guys would love to watch as well. Neil Young is back on Spotify. I don't know how recent of news that is. I just heard about it earlier this week. Just wanted to kind of touch upon that and how stupid that whole thing was and continues to be. And as promised, you guys know I love saying I'm going to talk about things on like Monday and then say, oh, I'll do it on Tuesday. I'm actually going to attempt to finally get to the Ryan Garcia thing today. Just 2 days into the week, 3 days into the week, I'm making good time, okay? I bite off a little more than I can chew. And in addition to all those glorious topics that we may address on any given day, every day on this show, we do the coveted, the infamous, world-renowned segment, The Rook Look. That is correct, folks. I, Jimmy Selesky, bestow upon you my highly successful, innovative sports gambling picks. Do you like making money? Actually, let me rephrase that. Do you like not making money? No? Okay, cool. Then perhaps you should stick around. But before we even get into that, I gotta tell you guys, I have a website. I have big plans for this website. I think it could be even bigger than Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, maybe even the internet as a whole. That's right. I think that my website alone could be bigger than the internet. You want to know what it's called? I'll give you a hint. It's my name.com. That's right. JimmySelesky.com. JimmySelesky.com. It's gonna be big. I post my schedule on there. I have links to the band, my band Sophomore, the world famous band Sophomore that you all have heard of for sure, definitely. And of course, links to this podcast as well. So if you're having trouble finding this, which would be weird because you're watching it right now. So maybe just retrace your steps. But if that doesn't work, you can always visit my website, JimmySelesky.com, the number one website on your computer. And everyone's computer. But even if that is too difficult, if you cannot even fathom the idea of having to remember my name, type it in, and then have to take the extra step of going to the top right of the page and clicking podcast, at which point it takes you to a landing page where you will have links to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram. Does that seem too complicated for you? Well, then you've come to the right place because I've taken the liberty of making it even easier. Now all you have to do is type in the word podcast .JimmySelesky.com. Let's review that again. Let's get you up to pace. The thing you want to see, podcast. The person who's doing the podcast, JimmySelesky.com. We got it? All right. That's what we call a plug, a self-plug. I'm going to, refine that as we go about our day-to-day. But in the meantime, that's my big drop of my super cool, awesome website. Folks, for those of you who follow the show on any regular basis, at least this week, you know that I am in the final closing hours of my fast. That is not my total Greek Orthodox fast, which does not end until our Easter on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. But I like to kick it up a notch, as you know, by not eating from Clean Monday, which was this past Monday, until sundown on Wednesday night. That is tonight. So I haven't eaten for close to 60 hours because I didn't technically begin at sundown on Monday because that would require me waking up before sunrise, which is never going to happen. So I actually haven't eaten technically since Sunday night. And at which point I did, for the record, eat $40 worth of Taco Bell on Sunday night after making my way back from the bars. And I'd like to tell you that was because I was preparing for this 2.5 period of not eating, followed by another 44.5 days of being strictly vegan until Easter. No, I just got $40 worth of Taco Bell Sunday night, and for the record, Saturday night as well. I got the same exact order 2 nights in a row. 2 cheesy gordita crunches, a crunch wrap supreme, 2 soft tacos, and a beef burrito. If you're going to go for it, fucking go for it, dude. No room for second place in this world. I'd like to say I did that in preparation. I actually just did it because I'm a degenerate piece of shit who went out on St. Patrick's Day against my better judgment and got caught, swept away by the spirit of St. Patty. And then I woke up on Monday morning, hungover and hungry for some reason. I don't know why I was hungry. And at that moment, I realized, oh yeah, not only am I hungover and starving, but I'm not eating until Wednesday night. So this should be fun. But I made it, and I'm looking forward to this meal. There is a part of me. I feel great. Monday was the toughest day, because your body doesn't know you're fasting yet. Your body's like, excuse me. It's getting a little late, don't you think? Time to eat lunch. Okay, how about dinner? And then you just skip a couple meals and your body's like, all right. I see what we're doing here. So then Tuesday, your body kind of lays off. Your body gets the memo. Your body's like, hey, I don't want to bother you. No rush, but are you gonna eat? Oh, okay, you're not gonna eat? Okay. Doesn't quite bother you as much. By Wednesday, my body is my bitch. Don't even talk to me. Me? You're not hungry. You're fine. I could do this another 2 days if I wanted to. I just don't want to. I've been hitting the gym. I don't want to lose all my gains. I already dropped 7 pounds in the past 3 days. That's not fat. It could be. I don't know what it is. It's something. Probably water weight. I'm dehydrated as shit. That's another thing they don't tell you about fasting is the dehydration is a major thing. Not exactly sure the exact reason why that is. Maybe because there's not like any food in your system to hold on to the water, but that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. Anyway, so I've been fine and I feel fine now. There have been a couple moments over the past couple days that I speculated perhaps I was being hangry. Not in real life because I really don't see anybody in real life outside of the gym where I might nod at someone or, well, gigs are over the weekends, but the beginning of the week, like Monday through Wednesday, every word I say is on this show. 100% of the words that exit my mouth Monday through Wednesday are into this microphone. It's kind of a weird thought. But just like random interactions, I canceled my Comcast service because I'm moving out of my apartment at the end of this month. So I told them to cancel that on March 31st. And they said, okay, cool. So you just have to return the modem and, cable box. And then I was like, okay, cool. So when do I have to return that? They're like, March 31st. So it's like the same day. There's no window at all. Maybe that sounds normal. I don't know. To me, that sounds, you don't give me one day grace a week. Hey, just get it to us by this date once we finalize your service. No, as soon as the service is canceled, I have to rip my shit out of the wall and sprint up to the Xfinity store before they hit me with a late fee. Here you go. Sorry, no. Sir, your service has been canceled for almost 35 minutes at this point. You're a little late. Like, really, guys? That was fine. I just had to clarify that with the guy I was talking to on the phone. I was like, so you're sure? Because that's my last day at my apartment. I'll be moving that day. So I'm just clarifying that on the day that I move, I also need to include a separate stop to the Xfinity store to drop off these things that I'm assuming you're not in any dire need of. I'm assuming there's not some other guy that's getting cable service on April 1st that's like, oh boy, I sure hope Jim returns his stuff because I would sure like to use it tomorrow. I don't think that's how it's going. I feel like you guys could give me like a couple days. But no, they were like, we may be able to waive the late fee if you return on April 1st. I was like, okay, so I just wanted to confirm that's definitely the policy. I wasn't a bitch about it. I just was beside myself and needed to triple confirm that before just conceding to just giving it back to them on the 31st in the midst of all the other things I have to do. That wasn't even my worst customer experience today. I rarely use the website BetOnline because now that betting is legal in my home state of Maryland, I don't need to engage in such strange, sketchy websites as BetOnline where you can only deposit in Bitcoin, so it's untraceable, and then you have to go on Cash App, buy Bitcoin, transfer that to some fucking anonymous wallet, which is linked to your BetOnline account. Then the same process in reverse if you ever want to withdraw, and it's some sketchy shit. Versus DraftKings, you're just like, hey, you know what? Now I can lose my money in style. But they do have this cool pool for the March Madness tournament. You $20 entry fee. You fill out your bracket. If you place in the top whatever, you win a certain amount of prize money, and it goes up the higher you place. And I like that. I feel like my model. This is a good year for me to like get in on that. And so I tried to log into my account, and it turns out that I can't. And this was, nothing that shocked me. I'm used to not knowing how to get into my accounts. So I click forgot password. They send me a verification code. Great. That's always a good sign. They sent me a verification code. So I think I'm going to enter it in and then boom, I'm groovy. Nope. Then they say, we still can't log into your account. Okay. Why didn't you tell me that the first time? Why are we go through this whole process just for you to tell me you still can't help me? So then I live chat customer support and I say, hey guys. And I tell them the whole situation and they're like, oh, snap. His name is Robin. Shouts out Robin. Nice guy. And I'm like, yeah, I can't log into the account. And they're like, yeah, well, do you have another account registered with the same IP address? And I'm like, I don't know. And then this guy, here's the reason I bring up this story. To make the long story of this short, the end result is that my brother and I lived together for 5 years. We both had active accounts on this website under the same IP. For some reason, only now is it a problem, oddly enough, when my brother no longer lives with me. So now I can't log into my account because my brother, who lives in the same apartment as me, who did live in the same apartment as me up until about 4 months ago, also has an account. And so I'm like, okay, so that shouldn't be a problem, right? And they're like, yeah, unfortunately it is. And then this is the part where you would expect the customer service guy to start telling you solutions. And this goes back to what we talked about before in regards to people, incompetent people in general. And again, this is a guy I had a, live chat with on the internet. I don't know this guy personally. I'm sure he's a fine guy. But his performance was that of an incompetent person. And incompetent people's favorite thing in the world, they just love it. They just love it. They can't get enough of it. Incompetent people love telling you what they can't do. It brings them great satisfaction. There's nothing, they wake up in the morning. Some people like the smell of freshly roasted coffee. Some people like the smell of freshly cut grass. Some people like to hear the birds chirping, the wind, the breeze blowing, fresh morning dew on the grass. But incompetent people, they love to tell you that they can't help you. Because their job, their purpose in life, as I've come to find, is to not have any purpose in life. Negative purpose, if you will. Their purpose in life is to make you have a harder time doing whatever your purpose in life is. So at this moment when I basically inform myself of the problem. This is no help from him. This is no help from Robin. Robin does not say, hey man, well, I mean, does somebody live with you or blah, blah, blah. No, this is all guesswork that I had to do. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't work at betonline.com. I'm just a regular dude who uses this website once a year. Yet for some reason, not the guy who works at betonline.com and gets paid like an hourly wage to help people with these exact issues. No, random dude, in Towson, Maryland, I was the guy who figured out what the issue was. At which point I was saying, okay, ball's in your court now, Rob. What do we do? Nope, nothing. Then I go, well, so nothing, just nothing. We identified the problem. As far as he was concerned, that's like the end of the thing, right? All we do is just tell you what the problem is, right? We're customer service. You tell us what your issue is. We confirm that is definitely your issue, and then we're done, right? No. See, maybe I'm fucked up, but I was under the impression that the whole purpose of customer service was not just to identify that there is in fact a problem, aka the reason why I'm contacting you. No, see, I thought that the whole reason we're here is to find a solution to the problem. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. So then I start coming up with solutions. I should have just been on a live chat with myself. I should have just been texting myself. Hey, what do you think I should do? Give me one moment. Can I place you on a brief hold? Me? Sure, me. Okay, cool. Well, I just looked into it and it turns out, oh wow, great service. Me? And I tell you what, that conversation wouldn't have taken an hour and 23 minutes. To basically be told that not only can I not log into my account because my brother also has an account registered to the same IP address, but there's no thing I can do. So I just can never log into my account again. That's the solution. Multi-millions of dollars funneling through this website worldwide. We can't help you. You're somebody else has the same IP address. There's nothing we can do. Okay, fine. There's nothing you can do. I tell you what. Do I have a balance? If so, cash me out, deactivate my account. I'll start from scratch. Unfortunately, we can't do that, sir. And you have a $2 balance. Okay, it's a $2 balance. Now, granted, this story would be going a lot differently if it wasn't just $2. Because what I came to find was not only is there absolutely nothing that the company BetOnline can do for me when I'm having issues with the company BetOnline. Conveniently, they can't even so much as deactivate my account and give me my funds back. They can't. Again, luckily it's $2. Whatever. I'm over it. I already, as I said, spent an hour and 20 minutes in this conversation. That's that's a little bit worth more than an hour or 20 of my time is $2. Just by a little bit. I don't know what minimum wage is these days. And so he was like, once again, I do apologize. I was like, look, you don't have to apologize for BetOnline's policy or whatever. That's not your fault. But here was the thing. Here's the reason I bring any of this up, other than the other thing I said was the reason I bring anything up. I could not bring myself to not say this and I retyped it several times. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just being a dick. I wanted to make sure that, obviously what I was about to say was criticism. But I didn't want him to just take it as like, well, fuck you, asshole. So I after many different renditions, I finally settled on, after saying that it's not his fault about the BetOnline policy, I just said, very politely, I said, to be honest, I do wish we had spent a little bit more time, or I said, to be honest, I do wish we had spent a little bit less time telling me what we can't do and a little bit more time telling me what we can. Is that... Oh, and then I said, if we had done that, this conversation probably could have been over an hour ago. Maybe that was the catty part, whatever. That's a fairly tame thing to say for someone that's just run you around the gauntlet and done nothing to help you for an hour and a half of your day that I could have been spending doing something else. Ultimately settling on, oh, I know we just talked for an hour and a half, but I can't do anything for you. I think that's fine. And there's a lot of people that would disagree with me. And here's the other thing I'll say. I don't do the whole like fill out a survey thing after, and if I was unsatisfied, I'm gonna give it 1, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I might do that if somebody was like actively mean to me, at which point I'm like, well, screw you. I'll screw you back. But if it's just like somebody just not being good at their job, I don't do that kind of stuff. And that's the difference. See, a lot of the people that would say that me kind of very subtly calling out that this person was not doing their job well in any way, they would say, that's a little much. It's just a guy on customer service. You don't need to tell him that, whatever. But a lot of those same people would then go to that survey and fill out a bunch of numbers that their company will see and could potentially lead to them actually losing their job. I don't do that. See, what I do is I tell them directly in a very polite, tame way that you're not doing a good job. And in my opinion, I'm doing you more of a favor than the guy who says nothing. Because sure, there's a lot of meek people that not only are too polite to say anything to the person themselves, but they're also just too polite to do anything on the survey. And those people exist. But I think ultimately we can agree that, sure, then you managed to get away with one shitty customer service claim where it didn't affect you in any way because the person was just too polite. You didn't help that person at all, but they didn't tell anybody that they weren't helped, so you're fine. But then there's the people that will go out of their way to make sure everyone knows that you didn't help them. And the only people that keep you from avoiding those people are the people in the middle like me, who say, hey, dude, just between you and me, you suck. Don't tell anybody. I'm not going to say anything, but you blow at your job. And maybe, just maybe, when somebody like me says that, and it is brought to their attention that they suck at what they're doing, they go, oh shit, okay, so I'm not doing a good job, huh? And now they have an opportunity to either blow me off, which is their prerogative, who cares, I'm just some random guy. But they also have the opportunity to recognize that they're not doing well and improve before the next person comes along and gets them fired for sucking at their job. You're welcome. I'm doing you a favor. I'm not a dick. That's the difference. You have aggressive, you have submissive, but right in the middle, there's that sweet spot. Assertive, folks. Assertive. Now, let's get into the topics of the day. Boy, do I love intros. First and foremost, right off the bat, let's talk a little bit about this Trump bloodbath ad. We talked about the actual situation itself on Monday, so if you want to be filled in on that, feel free to Google anything. And if nothing comes up for some reason, you can always check out the Monday episode of this show from this week. I believe it's called Mark of the Idiot. This I came across today. This is a new campaign ad from the Biden administration.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us!
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
Stop Trump. Wow. Am I the only person who found that hilarious? We talked a lot on Monday after, addressing the issue just about how ridiculous they are getting, the levels that they are stooping to in terms of spinning things and clipping things out of context. And that is just a beautiful, they are almost doing my job for me. This is like, we talk about the AI invasion, but look at what politics has done to people that commentate on politics. We cannot be any more absurd than the actual thing itself. I'd like to take this and make some exaggeration about how ridiculous it's going to get. It's already there. This is what we're looking at. It's just one soundbite after the other with this music. Stand back and stand by. It's gonna be a bloodbath. What is this, dude? I'm sorry. I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I really just wanted you guys to see that. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And some of you may be watching this and you might not understand the full context as to why it's so incredible. And again, as to not bore the people who did listen to this show or do follow what this situation is, just do yourself a favor and Google the Trump campaign rally from this past weekend in Ohio, I believe, where he mentions bloodbath. It shouldn't be too hard. Don't find a clip that's curated by some news media outlet, because chances are if it's at the top of your recommended in your search results, it's probably a left-leaning biased news outlet, at which point they will have clipped it out to exactly what they want you to hear. So instead, do something that we rarely do in this day and age and find the actual original content, the full original content, and see the context for yourself, at which point you will immediately know why this is so ridiculous, why this is perhaps one of the most blown out of proportion things in politics that I've ever seen. And I thought January 6th was bad. Also in the news, as I promised I would get to today, Neil Young is finally back on Spotify. Thank God. What would I do without all that mediocre, overrated music? That's right, I said it. I am a musician by trade. Now, contrary to popular belief, that does not make me an expert. Just doing something does not make me an expert. So I'm not claiming some level of authority here. I will, however, say that Neil Young is perhaps the most requested artist I get playing at bars of any artist. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why. I've been searching for a heart of gold, and I'm getting no. Oh, sorry. This always happens. Every time I try to sing Neil Young, I fall asleep. What were we talking about? Oh, sorry. Anyway, back to the show. Neil Young, I don't get it. Also, part of a band called Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, which I like some of their music, mostly because of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Perhaps the worst named band in history. Are you a law firm? If you've been severely injured and would like to claim your money, call the law firm of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young and get the money you deserve. Dude, you're literally artists. You are literally artists. And that's the most creative name you could come up with. But I'm going to give them a pass because I like Southern Cross. I've been around the world. That's a good song. Oddly enough, I think that's just Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I don't think there's any Neil Young involved in that. But Neil Young himself, who cares that you're not on Spotify, dude? Nobody missed you. You left Spotify, 2 years ago? Over an issue that no one gives a fuck about anymore. That is, of course, the vaccine disinformation during COVID. If we're going to have people like Joe Rogan, if we're going to have Joe Rogan on this platform spewing lies and misinformation and dangerous rhetoric, all their favorite words, rhetoric, spewing lies, misinformation. If we're going to allow this guy to have two literal doctors, most famously Robert Malone, a guy who holds the patent for the actual RNA-style vaccine that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are. So basically the guy who invented this technology, or one of them. Maybe not the guy, but one of the guys. Certainly more involved in the process than, let's say, Neil Young. Safe to say? Probably. And he goes on there and he just says some things about the vaccine that could cause problems in the future. He mentions some flaws in the testing process, in the rollout, so on and so forth. And this is harmful misinformation 2 years ago. We cannot exist if this also exists on this platform. I'm gone. I am out of here. Come with me, Joni Mitchell, other irrelevant, overrated musician. We're out of here, guys. I know nobody's paid attention to us in about 30 years. And probably if I think about it, that's exactly why I'm doing this. But we're not going to be on this platform as long as people like Joe Rogan are able to spew, I guess, kind of true shit. And also stuff that nobody cares about anymore. Think about that. Nobody cares. People have completely all but moved past COVID. Nobody talks about the vaccine anymore. As I say and will continue to say, you always know you won the argument when they drop it. You always know you won when they stop talking about it. They tried the vaccine mandate. It didn't bite. And then suddenly COVID was over. Wouldn't you believe it? Wouldn't you believe it that the moment they realized that they weren't going to be able to force every person in the country to get a vaccine produced by one of these major pharmaceutical companies, which obviously means that these pharmaceutical companies get a massive contract to produce enough vaccines for everyone in the country. Once they weren't able to make that a thing, suddenly COVID was kind of over. It seemed to just kind of fade into oblivion after that. There was no more opportunity to expand the market. And so it was just over. And now here we are 2 years later. Joe Rogan is getting paid more by Spotify than his contract from 2 years ago. He's also now on every platform. Somehow, I don't even understand that aspect of it. He was exclusive to Spotify, which sucked. I think his deal was $100 million, I've heard. It's a lot. Now he's on everything again. He's on YouTube. He's on everything. And he's getting paid more by Spotify? And so Neil Young is back. Neil Young is back. You achieved nothing moving on to the topic of the week, something I've been teasing all week long. Let's talk about this Ryan Garcia thing. Now, this just came across my desk really on Monday. I've heard whispers. Ryan Garcia. Hey, psst, Ryan Garcia. I've heard whispers of this topic, but it wasn't until now that I've looked into it. And so I want to play this first thing. This is actually the video that really queued me up. It's the video that made me want to dive deeper. And this is a recent live video he posted to Twitter.
Off shelves. We're not going to stop. And if they want to sue me, guess what? I'm going to countersue them. Guys, save the children. It's so sad. They're telling me I need a mental evaluation because I'm defending children. The little children, the babies, guys, babies. They're eating babies, literally. And I'm the crazy one. Bro, you guys need to get behind me, bro. They're eating kids. It's so sad, bro. It's sad. No, I'm not okay, bro. It happened to me and it's going to happen to... If we let them do this... Oh, gosh. You guys work for the devil if you guys say, is bro okay? You work for the devil. Get away from me, devil. I'm so sad, man. But it's okay. We're going to Congress. We're going to Congress and we're going to get them down. Remember, it says in the Bible that Jesus is coming back like a roaring lion with blood on his robe from the enemies he slayed. It's not time to play no more with these people. It also says in Matthew, if anybody causes these little kids to stumble, it's better that you tie a large weight around their neck and take them to the bottom of the ocean. It's up for all of them. If you don't support me, you're indirectly working for Satan. Because these people are eating children. This is disgusting. Disgusting, man. Why do I need help, bro? You know how you guys help? You start this as a movement. We don't let up. Every day we need to be about it. Every day. We can't let this go. Hashtag save the children, please. Please, guys, get behind me, man. Please. I'm going to Congress and I'm getting on everyone. I'm putting my life on the line for this movement. Do you understand what I'm putting on the line? Can you guys at least respect it? Can you guys share this live? For the life of me, share this live.
Okay. Takeaway number one right off the bat. I don't know if this subject and the little cute and fun live filters with the cowboy hat and the pink sunglasses and, you know, all the other stuff, the Nickelodeon logo popping in. I don't know if getting slimed is really the best look for when you're talking about the elites eating children. That could just be me. I don't know if that was just a clerical error, if he didn't know how to turn it off, but he really had something to say. I'm not sure. Just struck me as, or maybe, I don't know, somebody else edited that in. I don't know. Just immediately strikes you as a very unhinged video that we just watched. Now, I don't want to go out and say that that's what we're watching. There's a myriad of possibilities. There's possibility A, and this is, looking at it now, this was really, I think, what really got people going. And this is a Spaces clip from Twitter Spaces between Andrew Tate and Ryan Garcia, and they're talking about this. And this is from a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to put the video up here because you know what a Spaces video is, just like a bunch of different logos of other people that are in the thing. So it's not really a thing. So you can just watch me lean back while listening to this for some time.
Yo, Andrew.
Hey, bro. All right, talk to us.
Bro, I don't give a fuck, bro. They held me down and they made me watch little kids get raped. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Where?
Bro, they fucking took me to the fucking woods, bro, and they fucking tied. I'm not fucking joking, bro. I have fucking proof, bro. I don't give a fuck. Bro, I fucking will show you every fucking video you could ever fucking believe. Bohemian Grove is real. They fucking tied me down and they made me fucking watch, dog. I absolutely don't give a fuck anymore. Yes, I fucking lost it. They're raping little kids.
He doesn't want to take us all, so let's go. Come on, Ryan. He doesn't want to take us. Come on.
Fuck this guy.
Bro, fuck this dude.
Who? You
Bro,
do know the
you know the higher elites, bro. You already know who they are, bro.
No, you know what?
you know the path
Andrew,
you're going down is dangerous, my friend. That's
I
what I'm
don't give
worried
a
about.
fuck. I don't give a fuck. They can't touch me. I'm a god.
Well, that's the first point of contention because I care about you a lot, and I can assure you from my own personal experience that they can touch you, which is the
Bro,
worst part
no,
about
they
it.
can't, bro. All right, so come touch me, you fucking bitch.
You have proof of these things. You have proof of this on your phone?
Yes, of course I do. The fuck you talking about? Of course. If Alex could get a fucking video from the Bohemian Grove, of course I could.
Well, I have to be careful what I say because I'm in the middle of a judicial process right now.
You want me to get you out of it? I can help
Well,
you.
bro, my door gets kicked in if I say what I'm thinking.
Okay, well, I can help you get out of it if you want. I know people.
Oh. Tell everyone at home then. Start from the beginning. When did this happen? Where did this happen? What exactly did you see? Why have you tweeted the things you've tweeted? Let people at home understand you a little
Because
bit.
I don't give a fuck, bro. They raped me, right? I was 2 years old. They raped me. I have proof of that, too. That's where it all started, bro. Okay?
You do know there's going to be certain people who believe, and I'm Ryan, you know I like you. We've been speaking for years. You know there's going to be people who believe you're just saying this because you've, I don't know, had a mental breakdown or taken drugs and you're repeating some of the things you've said on the internet. And
Guess
so they're
what?
going to not believe you unless you come
Give
at
me
it
the
very
drug test then,
coherently.
Andrew. Andrew, I'll go to fucking Romania and take a drug test in front of your face.
Bro, you don't want to come here. you don't need Romanian jail. It's bad for your fight camp. But I'm just asking, like you're gonna have to tell a far more coherent story from start to finish for people to truly understand that what you're saying happened is what you saw, and that this is not some sort of episode or anything else. This is my advice to you as a brother. I'm trying to make it. If you want people to believe you, you're gonna have to come along and explain from the absolute beginning exactly how it happened, who was involved, how you got there, what car you were in, where you were standing, everything.
Of course they're going to want that, and I have all the information possible.
Okay, so when are you releasing it? How are you releasing it? Or are you keeping it for yourself? Because it looks like you don't want to keep it for yourself.
I don't. At the right time, I'm going to release all of it. But at the right time, I'm going to do it. They're already calling me to tell me to stop. I don't give a fuck, dude. I've already had a meeting with them. I'm going to let you sit with that, Andrew.
All right, let's stop it there. Right off the bat, does Andrew Tate not have like the strangest accent you ever heard? It's like, what is that accent? I'm not a bottle of water. It's like it wants to be so many different accents, but I just can't decide. His accent may be second only to Ryan Garcia's accent, which is quite indescribable. Now, I don't mean to come off like I'm not taking this seriously, because what I will say is, you might assume me writing things down. I'm a professional. I write things down. This helps me remember. That's why we do it. That's actually why it was invented, believe it or not, writing. There's three options that I can decipher for myself as to what we are watching here or experiencing. Only one of them involves this being comical. And that is what some people speculate, that this is just something he's doing to promote his fight with Devin Haney coming up. Ryan Garcia, of course, is a professional boxer. He's been the champion of some league. There's like a billion leagues. He's been the champion of one of them. He's good. 25 years old. He's got a fight with another great fighter, Devin Haney, coming up. And fighters have been known to do some crazy shit to promote their fights. I mean, Dylan Dennis, that fucking nerd who fought Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever one of them it was. You know, he was popping off on Twitter, just posting pictures of Jake Paul or whatever, one of the Paul's now wife or fiance, and just posting her with all these other men that she's been with, and like everybody was riding with him. And then he kept on trying to do it after just getting like completely murked in the fight, like doing absolutely nothing. And then at that point, it was just kind of like, all right, dude, it was only cool before you got your ass beat. Like, it's not, nobody's really riding with you anymore. That's the problem with being like the heel. When you don't have any chinks in your armor or pretend to not have any chinks in your armor, is once that chink is exposed, your whole persona goes away. Like a person who says, I'm the fucking best, nobody can beat me, I'm so great, I'm perfect. That character only lasts as long as nobody beats you. That whole like, I'm totally unbothered, like, you know, I think a healthy amount of vulnerability is good for a sustained reputation. Anyway, so that was embarrassing, but it is possible that this could be an act. I don't think that's what we're experiencing. This person appears to me, Ryan Garcia, to be kind of in the middle of a manic episode. I don't know what a manic episode is, by definition. Imagine it's just a fancy way of saying they've gone crazy, maybe for a temporary period of time. You know, Kanye was accused of being in the midst of a manic episode very recently with that whole thing. That's what I'm leaning towards. Nothing about this, even listening, no offense to my friend Scott, the way he talks, Ryan Garcia, reminds me exactly of when my friend Scott is blackout drunk. They talk the same way. No, bro, I'm telling you, bro, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm telling you, this shit is crazy. Like really intense, really like, you know, like all of us nonsensical when you're blackout drunk. That's what it reminds me of. This doesn't strike me as a coherent conversation. But even that does not necessarily mean that what he's saying is completely unbased. There are several reasons that someone could be experiencing a manic episode. Am I wrong? And one could also argue that being raped as a child and experiencing rape of other children as an adult could, in theory, cause a psychological break in someone. I think psychological breaks have been caused by much less. That is not me saying that everything he's saying is true. It is me saying that I don't necessarily just want to write off everything that a person is saying simply because they appear to be crazy. Here's what I will say. It's never a good sign when people just say, I have all kinds of stuff and you just wait and I'm going to drop the bomb and blah, 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 blah. I'm not really a big fan of that whole thing. I'm a big undersell, over-deliver guy. I'm a big, watch this. No, that's not a big deal. But boom! That's how you get people's attention. There's people that oversell and under-deliver. I'm not accusing Ryan Garcia of doing this. But when you just repeatedly go out and say, I'm going to prove this, I'm going to show this, you'll see, blah, 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 and then perfect example, Dylan Dennis with the whole, like, I'm going to drop this one pick or this one leak, and he just kept on teasing it, and there never was a thing. It takes a certain type of person to do that, but people do that because they understand it's good for marketing. It's also, even if you're not doing it on purpose, marketing it's something that I could imagine a person who is experiencing a manic episode insisting that something happened to them and insisting that they have proof, maybe not even knowing full well to themselves that they actually don't have that proof, but they believe so strongly that what they're saying is true. So again, I'm leaving room for all possibilities here. And I think that's the best way to go about it, because at best, this guy is just completely faking it for attention. But more so likely than not, he is mentally unwell. And at that point, it doesn't matter whether what he's saying is true or false. He should still be approached with the empathy of someone who is not mentally stable while being in the public eye, unlike most of us who may or may not experience periods of mental instability and are not subject to worldwide attention as a result. So those are the two things. Now, I will also say, when he talks about him being raped as a child, that happens to people, that's very believable. He's exhibiting the traits especially with this, he's exhibiting a reaction that you could say might be caused by something like that type of trauma happening to you as a child. And then perhaps, I'm no psychologist, but triggered by being forced to relive that as an adult. That could trigger a mental break in someone. And all of these things sound insane. Ritualized, they force me to watch children being raped or whatever. And what we fail to realize is, and I don't understand this, and again, I want to preface basically every sentence I say at this point by saying, I am not saying that what I'm about to hypothesize or, just offer as a potential explanation is correct. However, I am here to entertain all possibilities. And it never ceases to amaze me how generally written off things like this remain in our society, even after all the mountains of evidence that we've seen that stuff like this does exist. Most famously with the Epstein situation. We have a situation with Jeffrey Epstein. This sounds like a movie. It sounds like a fictional story, an evil villain character in a movie. But it was real life. There was a real life billionaire who no one could explain why he was a billionaire. All we knew was he has ties and powwows around with all the world's elites. And he has his own private island, and on that island, he traffics women and young girls as essentially sex slaves. And all the world elites like to visit that island. He has private flights to that island. And then he was convicted or arrested for human sex trafficking, and then killed himself in prison before he was able to testify against himself or any of the other people that were involved. And that was a real thing. I don't know if you guys forgot about that. We also have guys like the Nickelodeon guy, Dan Snyder, and all these different, like that. The list goes. You want to talk about all the instances we have of grooming and sex trafficking and abuse, and how this seems to be a far more regular part of that world than I feel like human beings can fathom. And I think that's the reason why we are so rejecting of whenever we hear these type of conspiracies is because our brains cannot grasp the concept that this could actually exist because we couldn't imagine it in our own world. And perhaps that's used against us because I almost find it frustrating that all of these things could have happened in our world recently, undeniably. And yet every step of the way, people push back and go, no. No, now you're taking a bridge too far. What is a bridge too far? Even the stuff he talks about with the adrenochrome and how they talk, adrenochrome is the thing, it's like some chemical or whatever that has like hallucinogenic, like reviving, like youth potion type qualities. And it's gathered by, from the blood of small children, and they terrorize these children to get the adrenaline pumping in their blood, and then they drink the blood, and that has whatever. Okay, that sounds crazy. And I'm not saying that goes on, but it sounds crazy compared to what? It sounds crazy compared to, oh, there's nothing going on, you're just overreacting. Yeah, in that case, it sounds crazy. Does it sound that crazy compared to, well, we do know that there is a billionaire, basically supervillain, who has ties with virtually every powerful person in the world in a private island where he traffics young children. And people visit that island to employ those trafficked children. Does it sound that crazy compared to that? Not that big of a step anymore. See, everything we unveil about this world brings us one step closer to the insane shit that we never could have imagined may exist. But yet, no matter how many steps closer we get in provable reality, we will always deny that the next step is even remotely possible. And so again, I am not saying that what Ryan Garcia is saying is happening or happened to him or whatever. However, assuming he's not completely bullshitting us and faking this for attention, for fight promo, which I don't think anybody could be this good. If this is fake, get this man out of boxing and put him in the next fucking Spider-Man movie or something, because this is an amazing acting job and method character that he is doing right now. It's incredible. Certainly one of the best performances I've seen. But assuming it's not fake, and assuming what we can all see, clearly we are listening to a person who is not in a good place mentally. Just remember, the fact that he is mentally unwell could either be evidence for or against the validity of his story. Him being crazy right now does not necessarily invalidate that he's been exposed to an extremely traumatizing experience and reality in his world. In fact, one could make the argument that his mental instability is evidence for the fact that this is something that he experienced and is going through. So just something to consider. I guess we'll all see how it pans out. I definitely think that it's going to be interesting to see him fight after all this, assuming the fight goes through. But in any case, God bless you, dude, Ryan. I mean, he's a devout Christian. He seems like a good person. I think, for those of you who pray, maybe throw him in your prayers, because this is a person who probably needs it right now for one reason or the other. Folks, before we get going, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the Rook look, big time for us this week. March Madness is tipping off tomorrow. The first four, the final first four games are tonight, and those are the games I want to focus on. Now, on Monday, I gave you guys a few picks with some boosts that were released pretty early in the week, and that was Colorado State -2.5. We covered that, which I mentioned yesterday on the show. So that brings us to we're currently sitting at, which I did not mention on yesterday's show, 10.47 units in the positive, in the black, after 51 bets. That is a 20.53% yield. That's pretty nifty. Also on Monday, I advised you to take Boise State +2.5. Speculating that line would move more in Boise State's favor because I was showing them as a -1 favorite, actually, against Colorado. It has actually moved them more in the underdog direction. I looked at it today, and they're actually sitting at +3.5 now. So technically, we kind of got beat by the closing line. We have +2.5. We could easily get +3.5 right now. Now, I don't know where this line is going to move by the end of the evening. This game is not until 9:10 p.m., so we still have a couple hours to go, and a significant amount of line movement occurs right before the game. So it could move back. But I will say that we have another slew of bets, boosts available to us today, which we're going to apply to tonight's first four games, at least as it pertains to college basketball. The first of which I want to talk about is MGM has some serious boosts going on tonight. They have two that pertain to college basketball. The first of which is a MGM March matchups 64% profit boost. I'm going to recommend throwing that on Grambling State +4.5 versus Montana State tonight. That game is at 640. Grambling State. I also want to bring to your attention a 25% first four boost on FanDuel. Also throw that on Grambling State +4.5. So now, we have a good solid bet on Grambling State tonight +4.5. And that's not just because Grambling State is a fun combination of two of my favorite things, gambling and rambling. Lord, I was born a Grambling man. No, also because my model shows him as 2.5-point underdogs, so I like 4.5. So go ahead and take that. Grambling State +4.5. I'm not going to tell you how you got to put your boosts. I'm just giving you some picks here. Myself personally, being that we lost closing line value on Boise State +2.5 for our pick from 2 nights ago, that is still pending and is now sitting at +3.5, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's take this DraftKings 33% live boost for college basketball and throw that on Boise State. We're basically kind of doubling down on Boise State, but this time with that extra point of closing line value. So now we're going to take +3.5. Now, I think Boise State wins this game outright, but we might as well play the numbers, right? Why not? So we already have Boise State +2.5 locked in from 2 nights ago. Let's go ahead and throw the live boost on Boise State plus whatever it is at the start of that game, which is again at 9:10 p.m. So you want to be right there as soon as the ball tips off to catch that line as early as possible before it starts moving around and everywhere or whatever. So those are your college picks tonight. Do what you will with those boosts. There's a couple more college basketball boosts that I'm saving until tomorrow for the start of the tournament. I don't want to blow everything on the pre-first round. But yeah, Boise State plus 3.5/2.5, whatever, and Grambling State +4.5. An NBA boost tonight, 33% NBA boost on MGM. I'm not a big fan of any of these games, to be honest. But again, when you're getting a profit boost like this of that amount, it's a positive EV bet regardless of what you take, as long as you lock it into the closing line value. Now, I guess my favorite of which, if I had to pick, which I do, because that's what the Rook does. I'm looking at the Pacers Pistons game. That's Indiana at Detroit. The line opened at over 233, over under 233.5. It has since moved to over under 235.5. Last I checked, it could have moved even further than that since then. It could have moved the other direction. Who knows? My model is showing like 246. The Pacers play an incredibly fast-paced game, as do the Pistons. Now, there are a couple injuries of note, but overall, the general pace of this game I expect to be fast, which means a higher scoring game. Average NBA game scores about 230 points, 230.5 points. So the fact that the Vegas line is putting these two fast-paced teams as just above an average scoring game, I think that's a little modest. I am not going to say let's take 235.5 because, again, there's enough injuries in this game that I'm not going to put full confidence in my model. But I will say with a 33% boost, you can take an alternate line at 233.5, which was the opening line, and just take over that. So now you're giving yourself 2 points. So instead of taking the closing line, what it is at right now, the general line at over 235.5, why not give yourself 2 extra points to work with? Take over 233.5 on the alternate. With that 33% boost, it brings you to about a minus 102 plus 100 bet. So you're basically winning your wager, but while increasing your odds of winning a decent amount. So I like that. Let's do Pacers Pistons over 233.5 on MGM with that 33% NBA boost tonight. And leaving the basketball realm, there is a hockey bet tonight, a bet I will tell you to take every time, all the time, and that is DraftKings' famous goal in the first 10 minutes plus 100 boost. A goal occurring in the first 10 minutes of a hockey game is generally a more than not likely occurrence. It's more likely to happen than not, I should say. These plus 100 boosts are often boosted from real odds of like minus 140 all the way down to minus 170, minus 180, which the further in the minus you go, the more favorited that turnout is. In this case, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Washington Caps, I guess, which would be considered my team here in Maryland. That is minus 166 on DraftKings for a goal in the first 10 minutes, boosted all the way up to plus 100. That's a positive EV bet. I take those all the time, and I've been profitable with those. So go ahead and throw that in. Throw it in anytime you see it. I promise you, if you have any issues with that, call my corporate office and, whatever, we'll figure it out. Outside of that, just to recap, folks, big night tonight for bets. NBA, we got the Pacers Pistons over 233.5. March Madness, we are looking at Boise State plus 2.5, 3.5, whatever, and then Grambling State plus 4.5, and of course the DraftKings goal in the first 10 minutes bet for the hockey game, Toronto versus the Caps. Outside of that, folks, happy Wednesday. We are more than halfway through the week officially. It's been another good one so far. I hope to keep it that way. As always, remember, LFTS podcast across the board. I'm your host, Jimmy Selesky. Best found, jimmyselesky.com. jimmyselesky.com. Till next time, folks, peace.